I'm Cuban. And nobody, absolutely nobody, understands how we're living. Outside, things are said. Rumors are heard. You repeat what is convenient. But the reality is not the romantic image some people paint. It's not mojitos, classic cars, and music on the beach. It's fear, censorship, and survival under a system that punishes freedom. Cuba is a dictatorship, plain and simple. The government controls speech, controls resources, and crushes dissent. Families are separated. Journalists are imprisoned. People risk their lives on rafts for the chance to breathe free air. I stand here as a daughter of exiles, carrying their sacrifices, their wounds, and their hope. And I'm committed to making sure the truth about Cuba is never erased or sugar-coated. Freedom isn't guaranteed. Not here, not anywhere. But as long as I have a voice, I'll use it to defend dignity, expose oppression, and honor those silenced in Cuba. Mi familia no vino a este país simplemente como inmigrantes buscando oportunidades. Vinieron como exiliados huyendo de la opresión. La realidad en Cuba no es la imagen romántica que algunos venden. No son solos mojitos, carros antiguos y música en la playa. Es miedo, censura y lucha diaria bajo un sistema que aplasta la libertad. Cuba es una dictadura. El gobierno controla lo que se dice, lo que se piensa y lo que se puede tener. Las familias se dividen, los periodistas son encarcelados. La gente arriesga sus vidas en balsas solo por la oportunidad de respirar en libertad. Yo soy hija de exiliados. Cargo los sacrificios, las heridas y la esperanza de mi gente. Y estoy comprometida a que la verdad sobre Cuba nunca sea borrada ni maquillada. La libertad no es garantizada, ni aquí ni en ningún lugar. Pero mientras que tenga voz, la usaré para defender la dignidad, denunciar la opresión y honrar a los que aún están silenciados en Cuba. My family carries the scars of exile, and the truth about Cuba is personal to me. That's why I've dedicated my platform to exposing the roots of oppression, not just the symptoms. I am proud to share Inside Totalitarianism, the anatomy and physiology from a Cuban perspective, a translation of my cousin's book, Salvador Subirás' first-hand account after enduring 20 years in Castro's political prison. His survival, his words, and his courage are a gift to history and a warning to the free world. The reality is, Cuba isn't just suffering because of its own mistakes. The truth many ignore is this. America's interference in the 1930s through the 1940s destabilized Cuba's democracy. Batista, once part of Cuba's Congress, canceled our Constitution and paved the way for dictatorship. The overthrow of Cuba's democratically elected leadership in 1930 had America's fingerprints all over it, under a U.S. president elected by our Democratic Party. Since then, Cuba has been a playground for authoritarianism, and now China and Russia sit right in our backyard, threatening American security and Latin American stability. The solution? It's time to stop romanticizing Cuba's suffering and start offering real solutions. My proposal is bold, but grounded in history and strategy. America should reestablish control and responsibility in Cuba, not to exploit it, but to protect it. Make Cuba a U.S. territory like Puerto Rico, with a pathway to rebuild under democratic structure, economic stability, and American defense. Remove China and Russia's influence from the region. Reclaim security in our hemisphere. Honor the Cuban people's right to freedom, dignity, and prosperity after generations of betrayal from both internal and external power. My why? My family fled exile, but we never stopped loving Cuba. Salvador's survival, my parents' sacrifice, and my calling as a leader in Colorado, they all intersect here. Justice isn't passive. It requires truth, courage, and the willingness to face hard history. That's why my book, Inside Totalitarianism, reveals that's what I'm fighting for. I am running for governor of Colorado because our state, our nation, need a bold return to the principles that built us: law grounded in truth, politics rooted in integrity, and justice that serves every voice fairly. We face unprecedented challenges, from political division to threats against our freedom. But I believe Colorado can lead the way in restoring the American foundation of justice, transparency, and my campaign is about bringing real leadership that doesn't shy away from hard truths, that listen deeply, and that fights tirelessly for the dignity of every Coloradan. Together we can rebuild truth, trust in our institutions, and reclaim the promise of the American experiment. Cubans have been waiting patiently, existing for more than 60 years in silence. Fellow Coloradan, as the daughter of exiled Cuban immigrants, a faithful Catholic, and a lifelong advocate for justice, I stand before you with bold vision to restore our state's commitment to dignity, truth, and the rule of law. To my fellow Catholics and brothers and sisters, our faith calls us to uphold the sacred dignity of every person, to speak truth boldly, and to serve with love and justice. Now is the time to bring those values into the heart of Colorado's leadership. Your voice matters. Let it be heard in this critical moment. To my Hispanic community, we are the vibrant thread weaving Colorado's culture, economic future. Our families, our stories, and our resilience defines this state. Yet too often, our voices are sidelined. Together, we can change that by stepping up, registering to vote, and shaping policy that protects our communities and honors our heritage. To my fellow lawyers and legal professionals, you understand the power of law to protect and to heal. You've seen where the system works and where it fails. Now is the time to bring your expertise and integrity into public service. Join me in forging a new path where justice is accessible, transparent, and compassionate. This is a call to action. Register, vote, volunteer, lead. This movement is not just about one person. It's about all of us reclaiming Colorado's future together, rooted in faith, culture, and professional integrity. We can build a harmony that lifts every voice and heals every division. Join me. Let's make history. One vote, one conversation, one community at a time. Register today and be a part of the change Colorado needs. In Cuba, people wake up not for work because they need to. At 4 a.m, people are forming lines. They're tired. They're waiting, hoping. And for what? To see if they can get some bread, rice, coffee, to see if they can get some grub, to see what they actually hand out. Worse, it's not the waiting. It's that at the end of the day, there's nothing left for you. There's children, mothers, old people, young people waiting underneath the wretched sun. Rain, the rain. Waking up here has no guarantee. There's no order. There's no respect. And there is no food. And if you haven't shed a tear while waiting in line and systemic misery, then you don't know what it's like to live in Cuba. I am creating the opportunity to build a community rooted in harmony, centered on truth, justice, and liberty. The possibility for you to shape the future of the next generation from strength, not fear. This is just This isn't just a campaign, it's a movement. Will you join me?